October arrives like a whisper in the dark. For Pisces, it doesn't announce itself with fireworks or fanfare. It slips in quietly, like a dream you half remember upon waking. But make no mistake, this is no ordinary beginning. The first 10 days of October 2025 carry a strange electricity, a subtle rearrangement of energies that will ripple through your inner and outer worlds. Mars, the planet of action and drive, is moving in a gentle trine to your sign. This is not the aggressive Mars that pushes and provokes. This is the Mars that steadies your hand, that gives you the stamina to follow through, that helps you move with purpose rather than pressure. You may begin to notice a shift in your energy levels. Not a surge but a steady hum. Tasks that once felt overwhelming now seem manageable. Decisions that lingered in limbo begin to crystallize. This is the kind of cosmic support Pisces rarely receives from Mars. It's like being handed a compass in a foggy forest. You may not see the entire path, but you'll know which direction to walk. On October 3rd, Mercury enters Scorpio, and the tone of your thoughts begins to change. Surface-level chatter loses its appeal. You crave depth, meaning, truth. Conversations become more intimate, more revealing. You may find yourself asking questions you've avoided for years. Why do I give so much and receive so little? Why do I hesitate to speak my truth? Why do I feel guilty when I prioritize myself? These questions won't come with easy answers, but they will come with clarity. Scorpio doesn't tolerate illusions, and Mercury in this sign acts like a scalpel, cutting through confusion, exposing what's been hidden. You may uncover secrets both in others and in yourself. You may realize that someone you trusted has been withholding something. Or you may discover that you've been the one hiding from your own desires, your own power. Then on October 6th, the full moon in Aries lights up your second house, the realm of money, possessions, and self-worth. This moon is bold, fiery, and unapologetic. It doesn't ask for permission. It demands attention. And for Pisces, it brings a reckoning. You may be faced with a financial decision, a sudden expense, an unexpected windfall. But more than that, you'll be asked to confront your relationship with value. Not just monetary value, but the value you place on yourself. Are you charging enough for your work? Are you accepting less than you deserve in relationships? Are you holding on to things, objects, habits, beliefs that no longer serve you? This moon is a mirror, and what it reflects may surprise you. Pisces often drifts between worlds, between dreams and duties, between emotion and logic. But this first chapter of October pulls you into the tangible. You'll feel the need to organize, to simplify, to clarify. You may clean your space, sort through old belongings, or finally address lingering financial matters. These actions aren't mundane. They're sacred. They're the rituals of reclaiming your energy. You may also notice a shift in how others respond to you. With Mercury in Scorpio, your presence becomes magnetic. People may confide in you. Opportunities may arise through quiet channels. An email, a whispered recommendation, a chance encounter. Trust these moments. They're not coincidences. They're echoes of the cosmic alignment unfolding above. This is also a potent time for healing. Emotional wounds tied to self-worth may resurface, not to haunt you but to be released. You may remember something someone said years ago that made you shrink. You may realize you've been living under a belief that was never truly yours. And in that realization, you'll begin to shed. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusions. But in this chapter, the illusions begin to dissolve. You'll see things more clearly, not just in others but in yourself. And with that clarity comes choice. You can choose to keep playing small. Or you can choose to step into the quiet power that's always been yours. Creatively, this is a fertile time. Ideas may come in flashes. You might feel drawn to write, paint, compose, or build. Don't dismiss these urges. They're messages. They're invitations. And they may lead you to something unexpected. For those in relationships, this chapter may bring subtle shifts. You may notice patterns: who initiates, who avoids, who gives, who takes. These observations aren't meant to create conflict. They're meant to create awareness. And from awareness, change becomes possible. If you're single, you may feel a pull toward solitude. Not loneliness, solitude. The kind that allows you to hear your own voice again. The kind that reminds you of what you truly want, beyond the noise of expectation. This first decade of October is not loud. It's not dramatic, but it's powerful. It's the kind of energy that rearranges things quietly beneath the surface. And by the time you reach the next chapter, you'll realize that something has shifted. You'll feel lighter, clearer, more rooted in your own truth. October begins with a question. What do you truly value? And as the days unfold, Pisces will begin to answer, not with words but with choices. You may find yourself drawn to rituals, lighting candles, journaling, walking in nature. These aren't distractions. They're portals. They help you tune into the frequency of your own soul. And in doing so, you begin to remember who you are beneath the roles, the responsibilities, the expectations. There's a quiet revolution happening in your life. It doesn't look like rebellion. It looks like reclaiming your time, your energy, your worth. You may feel the urge to say no more often, to cancel plans that drain you, to walk away from conversations that feel hollow. This isn't selfishness. It's self-respect, and it's long overdue. As Mars continues to support you, you'll find the strength to follow through, to finish what you start, to make decisions without second-guessing. If you've been procrastinating on something, especially something tied to finances, contracts, or shared responsibilities, this is the time when the fog begins to lift. You may also feel a deeper connection to your body. Pisces often lives in the realm of spirit, but this chapter brings you back to the physical. You may crave movement, nourishment, rest. Listen to these cravings. They're messages from your soul. This is a time to ground, to root, to remember that you are not just a dreamer, you are a creator. And what you create in these first 10 days will echo through the rest of the month. October 1st to 10th is a portal. Step through it with intention, and watch what awakens. The second movement of October begins not with a bang, but with a slow descent. For Pisces, it feels like slipping beneath the surface of a still lake, quiet, dark, and strangely familiar. The air thickens, time stretches, and something ancient begins to stir. On October 13th, Pluto turns direct in Capricorn. This is no ordinary shift. Pluto is the planet of transformation, of death and rebirth, of power reclaimed from the shadows. And when it begins to move forward again, it doesn't just nudge, it excavates. For Pisces, this happens in the part of your chart that governs community, long-term goals, and your place in the collective. You may begin to feel a subtle but undeniable pull toward something larger than yourself. A cause, a mission, a truth that refuses to stay buried. This is the moment when the past begins to release its grip. You may notice old fears losing their edge, old stories losing their relevance. You may find yourself saying things like, "I don't need that anymore," or "that version of me is gone." These aren't declarations. They're awakenings. Venus continues her journey through Virgo until October 17th, casting a discerning light on your relationships. Pisces is known for unconditional love, for seeing the soul beneath the scars. But Venus in Virgo asks for clarity, for boundaries, for mutual respect. You may begin to notice where you've been overextending, where you've been giving without receiving, where you've been romanticizing what was never truly there. This isn't about heartbreak. It's about refinement. You may feel drawn to clean up your emotional landscape, to have conversations that have long been postponed, to ask for what you need, not with desperation but with quiet certainty. And in doing so, you'll begin to shift the dynamic, not just in love but in every connection that matters. The sun continues its passage through Libra, illuminating your 8th house, the realm of intimacy, shared resources, and psychological depth. This is not a surface-level transit. It's a descent into the underworld of your own psyche. You may begin to confront patterns tied to control, vulnerability, and trust. You may notice how you respond when someone gets too close, or when someone pulls away. This is the part of the month where masks begin to fall. Not dramatically, not violently, but inevitably. You may see someone's true intentions. You may reveal your own. And in that moment, something shifts. A power dynamic dissolves. A new kind of connection begins. Pisces often fears confrontation. Not because you're weak, but because you feel everything. But this chapter teaches you that truth is not a weapon. It's a bridge. And when you speak it, you don't lose people. You find the ones who are meant to stay. There's also a financial undertone to this period. The 8th house governs shared money, debts, inheritances, investments. You may be faced with a decision around joint finances, a contract, a negotiation, a repayment. These matters may feel heavy, but they're necessary. They're part of the larger theme of empowerment that Pluto is now activating. You may begin to ask, what am I worth? Not just in currency but in energy, in time, in presence. And as you ask, you'll begin to shift the way you engage with others. You'll stop overgiving. You'll stop undercharging. You'll stop apologizing for taking up space. This is the chapter where Pisces begins to reclaim their influence, not through dominance but through depth. You may also feel a pull toward the mystical, toward tarot, astrology, ancestral healing. The veil is thin now and your intuition is sharp. Dreams may become vivid. Symbols may appear in strange places. You may hear a song that feels like a message. See a number that repeats. Feel a presence that comforts. Don't dismiss these moments. They're not random. They're reminders that you are never truly alone. This is also a time when past relationships may resurface. Not always physically but emotionally. You may think of someone you haven't spoken to in years. You may feel the echo of a connection that once defined you. These memories aren't meant to haunt. They're meant to heal, to show you how far you've come, to remind you of what you'll never settle for again. For Pisces in committed relationships, this chapter may deepen the bond. You may have conversations that reveal hidden fears, secret hopes, unspoken desires. You may feel closer than ever, or realize that something needs to change. Either way, the truth will set you free. For those who are single, this is a time of magnetic attraction. You may draw in someone who sees you clearly, who doesn't flinch at your depth, who doesn't fear your softness. But be discerning. Venus in Virgo asks you to choose wisely, to look beyond charm, to seek substance. Creatively, this is a rich period. You may feel inspired to write, to compose, to build something that reflects your inner transformation. Don't worry about perfection. Focus on expression. What you create now will carry the energy of your rebirth. There's a story unfolding beneath the surface of your life. One that began long ago. One that's been waiting for this moment. And as Pluto turns direct, as Venus refines your heart, as the sun illuminates your shadows, you begin to write a new chapter. Not with ink, but with intention. This is the part of October where Pisces stops drifting and starts directing. Where you stop reacting and start responding. Where you stop hiding and start revealing. Not everything will be easy. Some truths will sting. Some realizations will shake you. But every moment will be sacred. Every shift will be necessary. Every choice will be yours. October 11th to 20th is a descent. But it's also a return. To your power. To your truth. To the version of you that no longer fears the dark. Because you've learned that the dark is not empty. It's where stars are born. The final days of October do not arrive. They emerge. Like mist curling over water, they seep into your awareness slowly, silently. For Pisces, this is not a conclusion. It is a crossing. The veil between worlds thins and what was once hidden begins to shimmer into view. You may feel it before you understand it. A sudden stillness in your thoughts. A strange pull toward solitude. A dream that lingers long after waking. These are not distractions. They are invitations. October's final chapter is not about doing. It's about becoming. On October 24th, Neptune re-enters Pisces. Your ruling planet returns home, and with it, a wave of spiritual resonance floods your inner world. This is not a casual transit. Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusions, mysticism, and divine connection. When it touches your sign, it doesn't just influence, it dissolves. Boundaries blur. Time bends. You begin to see the world not as it is but as it could be. This transit awakens your deepest gifts. Intuition sharpens. Creativity blooms. Compassion expands. But it also tests your discernment. Neptune can enchant, but it can also confuse. You may find yourself questioning what's real, what's true, what's yours. And in that questioning, you begin to shed the illusions that have quietly shaped your life. Pisces is often called the mystic of the Zodiac, but mysticism is not always gentle. Sometimes it arrives as a storm. Sometimes it strips away what you thought you needed. Sometimes it asks you to walk alone so you can hear your own soul again. This is one of those times. You may feel drawn to spiritual practices, meditation, ritual, prayer, divination. Not because they're trendy but because they feel like home. You may begin to sense things before they happen. Feel emotions that aren't yours. Receive messages in symbols, songs, or synchronicities. Trust them. They are the language of Neptune. But remember, not all visions are truth. Not all feelings are yours to carry. This chapter asks you to anchor your intuition in clarity, to ground your dreams in reality, to balance the ethereal with the essential. On October 27th, Mercury enters Sagittarius and the tone shifts. After weeks of introspection, your mind begins to stretch outward. You start thinking about the future, not just next week but next year. You may feel inspired to plan a trip, enroll in a course, or explore a new philosophy. Sagittarius is the seeker, and Mercury here ignites your curiosity. This is a beautiful contrast to Neptune's influence. While Neptune dissolves, Sagittarius expands. Together they create a bridge between the mystical and the practical. You may begin to see how your spiritual insights can shape your real-world choices, how your dreams can become goals, how your inner wisdom can guide your outer path. Then on October 29th, the new moon in Libra arrives. It's soft, elegant, and quietly powerful. This moon falls in your 8th house, the realm of transformation, intimacy, and shared resources. It's a new beginning, but not one that comes with fireworks. It comes with whispers, with subtle shifts, with the quiet decision to let go of what no longer fits. You may feel the urge to start fresh in a relationship, to redefine boundaries, to open up more deeply, or to walk away with grace. You may begin a new financial chapter. Investments, inheritances, collaborations. But more than anything, you'll feel the need to rebalance, to restore harmony where chaos once lived. This moon is a mirror. It reflects not just who you are, but who you're becoming. Pisces often lives in the realm of feeling, but this chapter asks you to feel with purpose, to channel your emotions into creation, to turn your sensitivity into strength. You may find yourself drawn to art, music, poetry, not as escape, but as expression. What you create now carries the energy of your transformation. It speaks for the parts of you that words cannot reach. There's also a subtle shift in your relationships. You may begin to attract people who mirror your growth, who challenge you gently, who see your depth and don't flinch. These connections may not be loud, but they will be lasting. For those in committed partnerships, this is a time of renewal. You may rediscover each other, share secrets, heal wounds, or simply sit in silence and feel the bond deepen. For those who are single, this is a time of magnetic attraction. You may meet someone who feels familiar even if you've never met, someone who speaks your soul's language. But be discerning. Neptune's influence can blur lines. Make sure what you feel is mutual. Make sure what you see is real. This chapter also brings closure. You may find yourself finishing something, a project, a cycle, a story, not with sadness but with peace. You may realize that some things were never meant to last, that their purpose was to teach, not to stay. And in that realization, you'll feel lighter. October ends not with a conclusion but with a beginning, a quiet shift, a gentle expansion, a deeper alignment with your soul's truth. You may not be able to explain what's changing, but you'll feel it, in your breath, in your choices, in the way you move through the world. This is the chapter where Pisces becomes the mystic again. Not the dreamer lost in fantasy, but the visionary rooted in wisdom, the healer who knows their own wounds, the artist who paints with emotion, the soul who walks between worlds. October 21st to 31st is a portal. Step through it with grace, and watch what unfolds. October closes not with answers but with echoes, soft, sacred, and unforgettable. For Pisces, this month has been a descent into truth, a rise into power, and a surrender to the unseen. You've walked through shadows, uncovered hidden layers, and touched the edge of something divine. What comes next is not a destination but a continuation. The stars have whispered, the planets have shifted, and your soul has listened. As you step into November, carry the clarity, the mystery, and the quiet strength you've reclaimed. The journey isn't over. It's only deepening. And the universe is still speaking if you dare to hear.